What's going on, YouTube people? Happy New Year. We in a new year, the first of a new year. And I am proud to announce that I have completed my degree program with WGU. I started on September 1st of 2019 in my first term, and it is now January the 4th. I finished like December 30th. I think is literally the date on the diploma. So that's like 3 months. In 3 months, I completed my bachelor's degree in network operations and security. Now, I did have some transfer credits that I brought in. I had an associate's already in information technology, so that transferred in some credits. And I also had a couple of certifications that I had acquired on my own that transferred in some credits. So I end up with, you know, about 60% complete, maybe. And when I first started the degree program and started on the classes, I didn't know anything about accelerating. This is a thing where um, you go at your own pace. Basically, WGU allows you to go at your own pace. So basically, you can test out of classes. So say you start a class and you already know the information and you can go take a practice test. If you pass the practice test and you think you're good enough to pass the final test, go pass it. You're done. Class over with. On to the next class. So uh, I, I didn't experience anything quite like that. There was no class that I immediately took the pre-test and immediately took the final test and passed it and didn't have to look at no material, nothing. But I think I did have a couple close ones. So I ended up taking a few classes. Uh, the first of which I think was Principles of Management. This is an internal WGU class, and it was pretty straightforward. WGU uses U Certify. If you're not familiar with, just look up ucertify.com, and it's like a training platform that you can go on to get training for different certifications or different technologies, and they use that as part of their curriculum. So when you're actually taking your class, you actually have a U Certify account through your through WGU through your degree program, and you just log in and go through the material provided by U Certify. And for the most part, all of the information is on point. You can pass the classes and the certifications using mostly nothing but the U Certified material. There's a couple of exceptions, but for the most part, the U Certified material is enough for you to not only pass the class, but you to pass the certification exam in whatever, if there's a certification attached to the particular class that you're taking. Now, principles of management was pretty straightforward. I think I got it done in a day. Uh, Let me bring up my other screen, and we can bring this down and I'll talk to you while I show you. So this is what it looks like when this is what your student portal looks like when you have completed your degree program. As you can see, it says congratulations, you completed your WGU program. Now, before you get this screen, you're actually able to see what courses you're in, what classes you're in now. And if you go to the courses tab, it'll show you where you left off, what courses you're actually been studying, what in you certify or whatever. It'll show you on this tab, it'll show you your degree program, and you'll get to see the classes you've completed, the classes you still have to take, what term you're in, and so on and so forth. But unfortunately, I don't have access to that anymore since I've completed the degree program. But this is what it looks like, and I'll show you what the diploma looks like here. So this is what the actual, well, this is a digital diploma, and this is what they give you so that you can, have an instant, I guess, copy of your diploma and be able to share it online with friends and family, while you're waiting on the paper diploma to come in the mail. So as you can see, it says WGU, blah blah blah. It looks real nice. Has all of the information. Bachelor's of Science, Network Operations and Security. So that's what that looks like. And we'll just bring that back up here. So, I'm gonna just go. To the best of my memory. I'm gonna go through the classes that I've taken and what I thought about them. Is the material equivalent, so on and so forth, to the best of my memory. So another class I had to take was Introduction to IT. This is kind of like the first class you'll take in the network operations. I think all of the IT degree programs have this class in it, and if you're starting from scratch with no transfer credits or anything, you're definitely going to have to take this class, and it's pretty easy, so they usually recommend that you take it first. Introduction to IT, I used only the material provided by the college, which is the U certified material and whatever's in the course tips. And I think it took me 2 days. I think the first day I went through the material and studied. Second day did a little study, went on and took the final test, passed it. It was really straightforward and really easy. Shouldn't be a problem at all. Data Management Foundation. This is the CIW Database Specialist. Again, I used the material provided. I didn't use any outside material. It was pretty straightforward. If you go through all of the material and do all of the practice tests and do all of the recommended exercises, you'll pass these classes. It'll be nothing. Everything you need is in the material that they provide, so I wouldn't stress about it. Another class was the Scripting and Programming Foundations. I think that's another CIW class. Same deal. Most of these classes, from start to finish, took me about a week. I got them, and some of them I got 2 done in a week. So I was really accelerating. Like I said before, I didn't really know anything about accelerating, and I didn't get a clear explanation, but I was just eager to start the classes. So just by me starting the classes and doing my thing every day, it was a natural accelerated pace, because I set aside 4 hours a day for classes and homework. So every day, and I tried to stick to that religiously. Now, some days, obviously, you have a life, you have things going on around you. You're not going to be able to do it all like you plan. But for the most part, 4 days, 4 hours a day. If I couldn't do 4, it'd be 2 or 3. But at the very least, I did 1 hour every single day, Monday through Friday, on course material. And then on Saturdays, I kind of did a full week's review all morning Saturday till the afternoon, and then I took Sunday off. So if you dedicate some time every day, you'll accelerate naturally. You won't have to think about it or be forcing yourself to accelerate, just by naturally dedicating a decent amount of time to the material. You'll naturally accelerate. It doesn't take that long to go through all of the material and complete the classes. Even the recommended amount of time they give you, I think they give you 4 weeks per class, or 4.5 weeks of class. It does not take that long to complete these classes. You can do it in as little as a week. Some people can do it in as little as 2 days. So it just depends on how much time you have. I know, I work full time. A lot of people work full time. So, and you have families and so on. You're not going to be able to just 8 or 16 hours a day dedicate to your coursework. But if you a minimum of 1, try to get between 1 and 4 hours a day, no problem, you'll accelerate through it. Another class I did was Web Development Foundations. That's another CIW class. Um, it teaches about HTML and CSS. This class was interesting to me. I actually was interested in it, so I went through all of the material on this class. I actually took longer than I needed. I probably could have completed this class in 4 days, but I gave myself like 7 or 8 just because I wanted to absorb as much of the material as I could because it was an interesting class to me, web development and building websites. So I took my time on that one, but it was, like I said, pretty straightforward. All the material they provide is enough. And they also give you links to outside resources like YouTube and Pluralsight. So there's plenty of material, plenty of resources that you'll be linked to just through the class portal that you don't have to go out and get any outside on your own. But it's always good to do that because you'll get different ways of explaining the same material. Some people absorb things different ways. So if you get as many different explanations as you can for the same thing, you'll be able to like, I understand and piece it together your own way. Another class I took was organizational behavior and leadership. It was it was it was an easy class. I think it took me probably 3 days to do it using all the same material. Um, some of the certifications I did was I had to take. I didn't have a CompTIA Project Plus or a cloud certification, so I got both of those through the program. Both of them were just as expected. I had taken these certification exams before, so I know what to expect. They wasn't terribly hard or anything. Some of them do have a lot of material to absorb, but with the dedicated time, you can do that easily. So Cloud Plus and Project Plus was relatively straightforward. I used all the material provided by the degree program. One thing I did do, and that I always do on these certifications, is for outside material. I always go online and get the practice exam questions. There's thousands of them online. You just whatever exam you're looking for, type in practice exam questions for whatever exam this is, and you're likely to run into just all kinds. And I always go through, find those questions, and skim through them, and the ones that I had no clue or no idea about, I couldn't even guess, I wrote them down. So I would go through and write down all of the extra questions that I couldn't answer or that I had no idea, and I would compile my own like list of questions by the time I was done with all my review. And then on the last day before I take my test, I just go through the review questions, all of them. Sometimes I get up to 150, 200, 250 questions, and I just sit up all day while I'm doing other things and read the questions and answers and just go through them like that. The ITIL foundations, probably next to the CCDA, was the toughest class to take. It's just something about that ITIL. It seems like they're just babble. It seems like babble. You know what I'm saying? Because they use the same key terms and words so many times in a paragraph. You're like, what are you saying? Are you saying the same thing over and over again? It's just so boring and dry, the material. So you really have to strap yourself down and go through it. But if you do that, you shouldn't have no problem passing it. It's, like I said, pretty straightforward, and you can use all the material provided. Same thing with the other certifications, the Cloud Plus. Another class that I really enjoyed was the LPI Linux class, and there's a certification attached to that. I like the class because I've always been interested in Linux, kind of, and recently I've been getting into playing around with Raspberry Pis, and they run off Linux systems. So I had been already playing around with it a little bit myself, but just to get the the foundational information about the Linux OS and how to implement it and so on was really interesting to me. And I even had an old laptop laying around, wiped it, installed the Linux OS, um, and I'm not even using virtualization. I installed it directly onto the laptop, so it's a Linux laptop, and just to practice the commands and go through. And I like it. I mean, uh, it's just like they've got you know OSs that within the Linux operating system that look just like Windows. So I mean, all you have to do is just start experimenting. The good thing about it is you got a terminal where you can do all of the commands manually, or you can use the GUI and click. And so it was just real interesting to me. So I enjoyed that class, and I'm gonna keep practicing with Linux in the future. CCDA was the last class I took, and I purposely made it last because I figured that it might be a tough certification, and I figured that it might be a lot of material. The good thing about it is that a lot of the material is just rehashing what you've already picked up from ICND 1 and 2, CCNA security, and yeah, that's it, CCNA security. So if you take the ICND 1 and 2 first, then take the CCNA security, the CCDA won't be a breeze, but it'll be a whole lot easier. Most of it is recap. You can skip the recap if you're well planted in your ICND 1 and 2 studies and skills, and just go right to the meat of the new information, and you should be able to get through it pretty fast. I think I gave myself a month. It was the longest class I took. Out of all the classes I took in this degree program, I spent the most time on CCDA, and it was just about a month. And I passed in a 9, so it was good. What else? So this year we're having. I'm in the Dallas area right now, and this year we have a commencement ceremony in Dallas, so it was perfect. My goal was to graduate by the end of the year 2019, and I met that goal. The end of my program date doesn't actually end until like February the 22nd. But I wanted to get it done by the end of December, and I got it done right at the end of December. The last day or so is when the date they printed on my diploma says December 30th, I think. So, I ended up with a couple extra months left. So the graduation ceremony is in February in Dallas, at the K. Bailey Hutchinson Center, I think. K. Bailey Hutchinson Center in Dallas, February 22nd, if I'm not mistaken. So I will be there, and I will be celebrating the graduation, the completion of my WGU program. So I just wanted to give kind of some, insights and my experience going through my program. I just want to tell everybody that sometimes, you can get frustrated with the homework, or your mentor ain't responding fast enough, or your classes they won't let you add more classes to your term, and they trying to keep you in this structured plan as you go through your degree plan. And that just depends on which mentor you get. Some mentors are real strict and structured, and some just let you do your own thing. But it seems to me like at the very beginning, they may just let you do your thing just to see how consistent you are and how motivated you are. And if you don't fail any of your final exams, and you move right through the classes within the time that you set that you would take them, they pretty much won't bother you and won't say anything to you. I think I spoke to my mentor probably three, maybe 4 times during the whole time I was taking my classes, and it was during the beginning just to ask some questions. I mean, we never had no issues, really. There was one final exam that I failed on the first time, and it's just because I underestimated the class. I thought I could just. I'm like, well, I know a lot of this material. Matter of fact, what was it? Was it ITIL? Might have been ITIL. I'm not sure. Uh, but I took the pre-test and passed the pre-test, and I was like, okay, well, I know most of this stuff, I guess. And I did a little bit of review. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take it. So then I set up the final test, and I wasn't paying attention. I was rushing it. I'm like, I'm just gonna run through this, and I messed it up. I mean, I failed it. So then, after you fail your first attempt, they give you this long list of, oh, you got to go jump through this hoop, that hoop, that hoop. It's terrible, especially on a tough class or a large class. They make you go through all kind, and that's just if you fail on the first time. You fail that thing twice, man. You got to basically start over from the beginning, and you got to show them milestones of you going through the material, taking the test, doing this, doing that, before they'll even allow you to take it again. And I think you got to pay for it yourself on the third one and thereafter. So the one thing I can say is just don't underestimate the classes or the material. If you go in and you take that pre-test and you barely pass it, or you pass it a little bit, and you be like, oh yeah, I got this, review anyway. Just take another day. It's not gonna kill you. It's not gonna slow you down. Take another day and just go through the material, go through the questions, do the practice exams that they give you, do the practice questions, and before you take that OA, because the PA, because you'll just be frustrating yourself if you try to run through it gung-ho and you mess up. It's just going to be more work for you, more frustration for you. So you might as well just avoid it and make sure you're going to pass that thing before you take that PA. So, that's just about all that. The biggest piece of advice I can give, because that's where I messed up. I underestimated it, and it taught me a lesson, and I didn't do that again, needless to say. So, I'm all done. Now what's next for me is, well, first of all, I'm going to take this degree and get an instant raise. It depends on what industry you work in. But a lot of jobs, when you get degrees, they give you a pay increase. All you have to do is, take your transcripts to HR, and they'll give you a pay increase. So, first thing I'm gonna do is that. Boom, I'm gonna instantly get that. I think it's like 3% or something. I'm gonna get that off top. But what I'm looking at is this new position. So I'm gonna move to a different team, same organization. Obviously, it's going to be a new position, pay raise, more along the lines of what I'm trying to be doing in the networking area. So, that's something to look forward to for me. Hopefully I'll be in a new position within a couple months, and I can keep on moving forward. Now, I would recommend WGU to anybody. It just so happened I stumbled across it on my own. Nobody told me about it. I didn't get any pop-up ads like, when you be messing around on the internet, you get all these pop-ups. Now, I had seen them commercials with the little owl on TV, but I never thought nothing of it. I'm like, okay, it's another, online university, WGU, with the owl. But when I seriously decided to finish this degree program, because I knew that I needed to have that in order to progress in my career and move up on the next rung of my career, I knew I had to have that bachelor's degree, especially within the organization that I'm working in. So I started looking for a place to actually do that at. And when I found WG, and I was looking for an affordable place, because the last thing I wanted to do was go $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in debt just to get this degree, just so I can get you know, who knows, $10 raise, if that much, $5 raise. So I definitely wasn't gonna do that. And so one thing that I started looking for immediately was affordable degree programs, affordable college. Now, here in Texas, it's actually pretty reasonable to go to the local colleges, but being that I work full time and I got a family and all that, I'm not going to be able to go into these classes, and I definitely did not want to wait the 2 years or whatever it was going to take to do that. So I was looking for relatively inexpensive, work at your own pace, work online, complete your degree. And, just by me looking and searching and looking and searching, I came across WGU and a couple other ones. So what I did was I just compared them. I threw them up side by side. What are you offering? What degree programs do you have? I knew it was going to be an IT degree program that I was going into, and something in the networking area, which is what I'm interested in. And so, after the comparison, WGU had the best looking degree program for what I was trying to do, best looking price for what I was trying to do, and the best looking plan to get the thing done. So I jumped on it, and I'm a full believer now, and I would recommend WGU to anyone. And I would encourage people to go there instead of other places, actually. So I guess that's a good thing. WGU really was a benefit to me, and I am glad I found them, and I have nothing but good things to say about it. So, that's pretty much all I'm going to do on this video. I just wanted to recap my situation. Like I said, I got done within like 3 months. And although I transferred some credits, that's still pretty fast. So you can get this done quickly. I'm going to cut the end. I'm going to end this video here. I might pose a question in the comments. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comments section. Please give me a thumbs up on the thumbs ups. Like the channel, subscribe if you like the channel. I'm going to be doing all kinds of little content between IT career and IT PC repair and electronics, stuff like that, different aspects of the channel. So if you're interested in that type of stuff, go ahead and subscribe, mash all the buttons, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.